On the streets of post-World War II America, a striking automobile appeared that looked unlike anything else on the road. The Tucker 48, with its low-slung aerodynamic fastback body, broad fenders, and most notably, its unusual three-headlamp front, instantly caught attention. At the center was the distinctive Cyclops eye, a third headlight that turned with the steering wheel, a bold innovation for its time. Yet, despite the fanfare and promises of a safer, more advanced car, only 51 of these vehicles ever rolled off the assembly line. Among them was the prototype, affectionately called the Tin Goose, which differed in several meaningful ways from the subsequent production models. Named for the 1948 model year, the Tucker 48 arrived when America was hungry for progress, eager to leave behind the austerity of war and embrace new technology and design. Preston Tucker, the man behind this audacious project, marketed the car as a transformative alternative to the conventional automobiles of the late 1940s. But how did a vehicle with such forward-thinking features and visionary backing end up as a rare, almost mythical artifact? The story of the Tucker 48 is a complex blend of innovation, business struggles, and legal battles, all unfolding against the backdrop of a rapidly changing America. To understand how this ambitious dream turned into an enduring legend, we must first meet the man at its center and explore the era that made his vision possible. To answer that, we first need to meet the man whose vision sparked it all, Preston Tucker, and understand the moment in post-war America that seemed perfect for a new kind of car. After World War II, America was a nation eager for renewal. The war had ended, factories shifted from military production back to consumer goods, and millions of returning servicemen were ready to rebuild their lives. Among the many industries poised for transformation, the automobile stood out. Yet, despite the public's hunger for fresh designs and modern technology, the big three automakers, General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler, largely relied on pre-war styling and familiar engineering. Into this landscape stepped Preston Tucker, a man whose ambition and promotional skill matched the scale of his vision. Tucker was not just an inventor or engineer. He was an entrepreneur with a flair for showmanship and a keen sense of timing. He recognized the gap between what American drivers wanted and what the established manufacturers offered. Tucker's goal was to create a car that embodied the spirit of progress, promising innovations in safety, performance, and design that the market had yet to see. His vision was bold: a low, aerodynamic fastback with a rear-mounted engine, a car that would look and feel unlike any other on the road. But Tucker's talents extended beyond engineering ideas. He was a master promoter who could capture the public's imagination, presenting his automobile as a symbol of the new, optimistic post-war America. His enthusiasm resonated with consumers who were ready to embrace change, especially innovations that address safety and modern convenience, areas often neglected in the dominant car designs of the era. Yet Tucker's path was far from straightforward. The post-war economic boom offered opportunity, but it also brought challenges. Starting a new car company meant navigating complex manufacturing logistics, securing financing in a market dominated by powerful incumbents, and convincing suppliers and dealers to take a chance on an unproven venture. Tucker's personality reflected this tension. He was a visionary who could inspire loyalty and excitement, but also a figure whose ambitious plans sometimes outpaced practical realities. His ability to blend genuine innovation with compelling promotion set the stage for the Tucker 48's development, but it also foreshadowed the difficulties ahead. This moment in history, marked by pent-up demand, technological optimism, and fierce competition, created a unique environment for automotive innovation. Preston Tucker's drive to seize that moment was the catalyst for a project that would challenge conventions and ultimately become one of America's most enduring automotive legends. For many Americans, the promise of the late 1940s was not just about prosperity, but about redefining what was possible. The automobile, long a symbol of freedom and progress, became a canvas for new ideas. Tucker's project captured the imagination of those who believed that innovation could flourish outside the established order, and that bold thinking might finally deliver the future they had been promised. But turning that vision into a concrete automobile required talent and creativity. starting with the designs that would define the Tucker 48. The Tucker 48 didn't emerge overnight. Its design was shaped by a complex process of innovation, revision, and collaboration, reflecting both visionary ambition and practical challenges. Early in the project, George Lawson put forward important initial proposals that helped lay the groundwork for what would become the Tucker 48. Though Lawson departed the project relatively early, his contributions set a foundation that others would build upon. Central among those who shaped the car's distinctive appearance was Alex Tremulous, whose role in developing the Tucker 48's production design was pivotal. Tremulous brought a refined sense of style and technical insight, helping transform broad concepts into a cohesive, striking automobile. One of the defining features of the Tucker 48 was its aerodynamic fastback body, a sleek silhouette that stood apart from the boxier American cars of the late 1940s. This low, flowing shape was more than just aesthetic. It reflected a growing post-war interest in aerodynamics and efficiency, aiming to deliver a modern driving experience. Complementing the body were broad fenders that gave the car a muscular stance, balanced with the streamlined fastback roofline. Perhaps the most immediately recognizable innovation was the Tucker's three-headlamp front end. This included a central headlamp, often called the Cyclops eye, which was designed to turn with the steering, illuminating the road ahead as the driver navigated curves. This feature was revolutionary for its time, though its function varied depending on legal regulations in different states. It's important to distinguish this three-headlamp setup from promotional ideas or experimental features that never made it to production. While Tucker's team explored several advanced safety and mechanical concepts during development, not all were implemented in the final vehicles. For example, the car's doors extended into the roof area, a design choice intended to ease entry and exit, while safety-minded elements like a padded dashboard and a windshield designed to pop out in severe impacts were incorporated to varying degrees. However, other advanced features discussed during development, such as disc brakes or fuel injection, were not standard on the completed cars. The production Tucker 48 also featured a rear-mounted, horizontally opposed six-cylinder engine, adapted from an air-cooled Motors Franklin helicopter engine. This choice reflected Tucker's commitment to innovation, though the engine was heavily modified for automotive use, including the addition of liquid cooling. Significantly, an ambitious plan to produce a proprietary Tucker 589 engine was ultimately abandoned before the car went into normal production. It's crucial to separate these technical developments from the earlier Tucker torpedo design concept. The torpedo represented an initial vision, but the production Tucker 48 evolved substantially from that starting point, incorporating design refinements and engineering adjustments based on practical realities and regulatory considerations. Throughout this process, Preston Tucker's role as both entrepreneur and promoter influenced the design direction, but credit must be shared among the talented individuals who contributed. The final Tucker 48 embodied a blend of forward-looking ideas and achievable engineering, setting it apart from contemporaries while revealing the challenges of bringing such innovation to market. All this design ambition came to public life with the dramatic debut of the Tin Goose prototype in 1947, a pivotal moment full of promise and pressure. On June 19, 1947, Preston Tucker unveiled the prototype that would become known as the Tin Goose. This single prototype was the first tangible glimpse of his visionary Tucker 48, a car that promised to break away from the conventions of post-war American automobiles. The event was more than a mere presentation. It was a high-stakes moment charged with anticipation, designed to captivate the public and attract crucial investment. Yet beneath the excitement lay a prototype still very much a work in progress. The Tin Goose differed in meaningful ways from the production cars that would later roll out of the factory. Its body shape was striking, with the now iconic low, aerodynamic fastback profile and the distinctive three-headlamp front, including the centrally positioned Cyclops eye that would pivot with the steering. This feature alone suggested a leap forward in automotive design and safety, capturing imaginations and setting the Tucker 48 apart from anything else on the road. But the prototype's mechanical underpinnings told a more complicated story. The engine was a modified version derived from an air-cooled Motors Franklin helicopter engine, adapted for automotive use but still undergoing refinement. Many of the advanced safety and engineering features that Tucker had envisioned, such as the padded dashboard and the windshield designed to pop out in a severe crash, were present only in concept or partial form. The prototype also lacked the polished finish and assembly consistency necessary for mass production. Tucker's team faced immense pressure to move beyond the prototype stage, yet the enormous factory in Chicago, obtained through the War Assets Administration, posed logistical challenges that slowed progress. The Tin Goose, while a powerful symbol of ambition and innovation, also highlighted the tension between visionary design and the practical demands of manufacturing. It embodied both the promise of a new kind of American automobile and the hurdles that lay ahead in turning that promise into reality. This balance of excitement and unfinished work shaped public perception and investor confidence in ways that would ripple through the company's future. For many in attendance, the Tin Goose's unveiling was a spectacle that blended hope with uncertainty. The crowd saw a car that looked like it belonged to the future, but few realized how much work remained behind the scenes. The prototype's dramatic appearance masked the reality that its systems were still being tested and refined, and that the leap from a single showpiece to a reliable production model would require countless adjustments. The pressure to impress investors and the public meant that some features were presented as closer to completion than they truly were. This moment captured the dual nature of the Tucker project. A bold vision on display, yet shadowed by the immense technical and organizational hurdles that still needed to be overcome. Understanding the prototype is crucial to appreciating what made the actual production Tucker 48 different, and why those differences mattered. The production Tucker 48 stood as a striking blend of bold ambition and practical execution. It was a car that promised to redefine the American automobile, but in reality reflected the complex challenges of bringing innovation to life. At its heart was the rear-mounted, horizontally opposed six-cylinder engine, a power plant adapted from a Franklin helicopter engine. This was no off-the-shelf solution. Tucker's team transformed the air-cooled Franklin into a liquid-cooled unit, tailoring it to meet automotive demands. This engine choice underscored the company's commitment to advanced engineering, even if it meant diving into uncharted territory rather than relying on conventional powertrains. Visually, the Tucker 48 was unmistakable. Its low, aerodynamic fastback body gave it a sleek profile that contrasted sharply with the boxier cars common in the late 1940s. Broad fenders and a distinctive three-headlamp front set it apart on the road. The centerpiece was the so-called Cyclops eye, a center headlamp designed to turn with the steering, enhancing visibility around corners. However, this feature was subject to varying state laws and regulations, so its operation was adapted accordingly, reflecting the practical realities of introducing new technology within a patchwork of legal frameworks. Another design element that caught attention was the car's doors, which extended upward into the roof area. This unusual choice made entry and exit easier, especially given the car's low-slung stance. It was a thoughtful nod toward driver comfort and usability, a detail that anticipated later designs focusing on ergonomics. Safety was a key selling point for Tucker, and the 48 incorporated several forward-thinking features. The dashboard was padded to reduce injury in collisions, and the windshield was engineered to pop out during severe impacts, aiming to minimize harm to occupants. Additionally, the area beneath the dashboard was designed to protect passengers better, though not every safety innovation proposed during development made it into production. For example, seatbelts were considered but were not installed as standard equipment, and advanced features like disc brakes, fuel injection, or magnesium wheels remained experimental or promotional ideas rather than production realities. These distinctions matter because they paint a picture of a car that was innovative yet constrained by the practicalities of manufacturing and regulatory approval. The Tucker 48's production models differed in meaningful ways from the earlier Tin Goose prototype. While the prototype showcased ambitious concepts, the production cars represented a balance between innovation and feasibility. This was a car that aimed to be ahead of its time, but it also had to navigate the limitations of post-war technology and the complexities of automotive production. Understanding these details helps clarify why the Tucker 48 remains a symbol of both visionary engineering and the hurdles faced by a small automaker trying to break into a market dominated by established giants. But ambition alone wasn't enough. Turning this car into a product meant grappling with an enormous factory and relentless production challenges. The sprawling Chicago factory was both a dream come true and a nightmare in the making for Tucker's fledgling company. Securing the massive former Dodge aircraft engine plant through the Federal War Assets Administration offered Preston Tucker an unparalleled opportunity, a facility large enough to build his revolutionary car on a scale that could challenge the established automakers. Yet, this vast industrial space soon revealed itself as a double-edged sword. Originally designed for aircraft engine production during the war, the plant was not optimized for automobile manufacturing. Converting it into a functional car factory demanded extensive modifications, new tooling, and a reimagined workflow. These changes came with steep costs and daunting logistical hurdles. Tucker's team faced the immense task of adapting the layout, installing assembly lines, and coordinating suppliers who themselves were unaccustomed to the unique demands of the Tucker 48. Compounding these operational challenges was the constant evolution of the car's design. Engineering changes persisted even as production began, creating delays and complicating the manufacturing process. Each adjustment rippled through the supply chain, requiring new parts or alterations to existing components. For a small, independent company, these shifting targets strained resources and tested the resolve of everyone involved. Deadlines loomed relentlessly. Tucker's promise to deliver a groundbreaking vehicle to eager customers added pressure to quickly transform the prototype into a repeatable product. Yet, the reality of mass production was far more complex than the initial vision. Unlike the big three automakers, whose factories were finely tuned and well-staffed, Tucker had to build his production system from the ground up while juggling financial constraints and technical uncertainties. The enormous factory, while symbolizing potential, also became a symbol of the company's vulnerability. Its size and complexity imposed heavy financial burdens, requiring significant capital to maintain operations and workforce. Suppliers struggled to keep pace with the fluctuating demands, and the coordination necessary to run such a large facility stretched the company's managerial capacity. This monumental challenge underscored the difficulty of competing with entrenched industry giants. For all its promise, the Chicago plant became a constant reminder of the gap between ambition and reality. As production hurdles mounted, so did the pressure on Tucker and his team to find ways to sustain the effort. The factory was a testament to innovation, but also to the enormous risks inherent in attempting to reshape the American automobile industry from the ground up. The sheer scale of the facility also shaped the company's public image, fueling both optimism and skepticism among observers. For supporters, the plant embodied the boldness of Tucker's vision and the post-war spirit of American innovation. For critics, it raised questions about whether such a young company could realistically fill its cavernous halls with finished cars. The factory's imposing presence became a stage for both hope and doubt as the project advanced. Financing this ambitious effort required unconventional methods, which soon attracted scrutiny and controversy. When traditional sources of capital fell short, Preston Tucker and his team turned to bold and unconventional methods to keep the company afloat. The Tucker Corporation's ambitious vision demanded significant funding, but the post-war automotive landscape was crowded, and convincing investors to back a newcomer was no easy task. To bridge this gap, Tucker employed a combination of strategies that were innovative for their time, but also raised eyebrows among regulators and the public alike. One key approach was a public stock offering, which allowed ordinary Americans to invest in the promise of the Tucker 48. This method relied heavily on Tucker's charismatic persona and his ability to sell not just a car, but a dream of a safer, more advanced automobile for the post-war era. Alongside this, the company established dealer franchises, inviting entrepreneurs across the country to become part of the Tucker network. These dealers were expected to help generate sales momentum and provide upfront capital, further fueling the company's production efforts. Perhaps the most unusual and controversial financing method was the accessories program. This initiative allowed customers to purchase vehicle-related items before the cars themselves were delivered, a kind of pre-sale that generated immediate cash flow. Accessories ranged from radios to custom trim pieces, enticing buyers with the promise of outfitting their Tucker 48 even before it rolled off the line. While this program injected much-needed funds, it also blurred the lines between product sales and financing, a nuance that attracted regulatory attention. The Securities and Exchange Commission took notice of these fundraising activities. The company's aggressive promotion and the timing of accessory sales raised questions about the legality and transparency of its financial practices. It's important to emphasize that an investigation alone did not imply wrongdoing. Yet, the scrutiny added pressure at a critical time when the company was grappling with production delays, supplier challenges, and the immense task of transforming a prototype into a production-ready vehicle. Financial strain and public skepticism began to mount, fueled by media reports and the uncertainty surrounding the Tucker Corporation's future. Despite Preston Tucker's relentless drive and the genuine innovations embodied in the Tucker 48, the company's financial foundation was fragile. The combination of unconventional funding, regulatory scrutiny, and operational hurdles created a perfect storm that threatened to derail the entire project. This complex financial landscape set the stage for a federal investigation and legal battle that would come to define the Tucker Corporation's legacy. The very methods that kept the dream alive also sowed the seeds of controversy and suspicion, underscoring the high stakes involved in bringing such a revolutionary car to market. For many observers, these fundraising tactics reflected both the optimism and the urgency of the post-war era, when pent-up consumer demand and faith in innovation encouraged bold ventures. Yet the blending of promotion, investment, and pre-sale accessories made it difficult for outsiders to distinguish between genuine progress and risky speculation. But those very methods triggered federal scrutiny and a legal battle that would define the company's fate. The government's investigation into the Tucker Corporation intensified, culminating in a highly publicized federal trial. Authorities scrutinized the company's financial practices, focusing on the unconventional methods Tucker used to raise capital. These included public stock offerings, dealer franchises, and an accessories program that allowed customers to purchase items related to cars not yet delivered. While innovative as fundraising techniques, these approaches attracted the attention of the Securities and Exchange Commission, triggering allegations of fraud and conspiracy. Preston Tucker, along with several associates, faced serious federal charges. However, the courtroom drama that unfolded was not a straightforward condemnation. Throughout the trial, Tucker's defense highlighted the company's ambitious vision and the genuine challenges faced in bringing a revolutionary automobile to market. In January 1950, the jury delivered a clear verdict. Preston Tucker and his co-defendants were acquitted on all charges. This acquittal was a pivotal moment, affirming that no legal wrongdoing had been proven. Yet by this point, the damage to Tucker Corporation was already profound. The company had endured severe financial strain, production delays, and a wave of negative publicity that undermined public and investor confidence. These factors had already eroded the company's momentum, making recovery difficult despite the legal victory. The trial's outcome did not automatically restore Tucker's ability to resume normal production or secure the necessary capital to continue. Instead, the company struggled under the weight of its earlier challenges and the lingering effects of the investigation. Importantly, the narrative surrounding Tucker's legal battles has often been clouded by myths and speculation. While some have suggested that established automakers conspired to destroy Tucker's enterprise, such claims remain unproven and are not supported by conclusive historical evidence. This section of the story underscores a more nuanced reality. Tucker's downfall resulted from a complex combination of undercapitalization, production difficulties, regulatory scrutiny, and reputational harm. The acquittal stands as a testament to the fact that, at least in the eyes of the law, Tucker and his associates were not guilty of fraud. Yet the company's fate was sealed by a convergence of factors that extended beyond the courtroom. The legacy of this legal saga is a reminder of how innovation and ambition can collide with the harsh realities of business and regulation. It also sets the stage for the enduring myths and legends that would grow around the Tucker 48 long after the company itself ceased operations. For many observers at the time, the trial became a symbol of the tension between bold innovation and the established norms of American industry. The spectacle of a small, ambitious company facing intense legal and public scrutiny captured the imagination of the public, fueling debate about the risks and rewards of challenging the status quo in a rapidly changing post-war economy. Yet the company had already been shaken to its core, setting the stage for its eventual collapse and the myths that followed. The Tucker 48 story is a fascinating blend of innovation, ambition, and enduring mystery, where fact and legend often intertwine. While it's undeniable that Preston Tucker and his team introduced several forward-thinking features for the late 1940s, the car's legacy is far more complex than a simple tale of triumph or sabotage. The Tucker 48's distinctive rear-engine design, aerodynamic fastback body, and safety-oriented elements like the Cyclops Eye Center headlamp that turned with the steering were genuine innovations. Yet, many of the more advanced concepts discussed during development, such as disc brakes, fuel injection, and seat belts, never made it to the production models. The production cars were powered by a modified Franklin helicopter engine, carefully adapted for automotive use, rather than the ambitious but ultimately abandoned Tucker 589 engine project. These realities illustrate a car that was innovative but also a work in progress, constrained by the era's technical and financial limitations. The company's collapse cannot be pinned on a single cause. Undercapitalization, production challenges, supplier issues, and regulatory scrutiny combined to overwhelm the fledgling enterprise. The federal trial that Preston Tucker and his associates faced ended in complete acquittal, yet the damage to the company's reputation and finances had already been done. It's important to recognize that the popular narrative of Detroit's Big Three orchestrating a secret campaign to destroy Tucker remains an unresolved historical debate rather than an established fact. No conclusive evidence supports claims of sabotage or conspiracy, though these stories have become part of the car's enduring mystique. After the company folded, the Tucker 48's rarity and dramatic backstory only fueled its rise as an American automotive legend. With just 51 cars built, including the unique Tin Goose prototype, the Tucker 48 became a symbol of bold innovation and entrepreneurial spirit. Its story captured the imagination of collectors, museums, and enthusiasts who worked to preserve and celebrate these rare vehicles. The 1988 film Tucker, The Man and His Dream, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, introduced the story to a new generation, blending historical events with dramatized elements. While this film helped popularize the Tucker legend, it's crucial to distinguish cinematic storytelling from documented history. Today, the Tucker 48 stands as a testament to both the promise and challenges of post-war American automotive innovation. It was neither a flawless masterpiece nor a simple failure. Instead, it was a remarkable experiment shaped by visionary ideas, business realities, and the complexities of its time. The car's mystique endures because it embodies the tension between what was and what might have been. For many, the Tucker 48 also represents the spirit of post-war optimism, a moment when American consumers were eager for new ideas and bold departures from the familiar. Its story continues to invite debate, reflection, and admiration from those who value ingenuity and perseverance. So how did a car that barely reached the roads become an immortal symbol of American ambition and innovation? From a bold dream to a rare reality, the Tucker 48 story challenges us to consider how legends are born from both triumph and turmoil. Preston Tucker's vision was unmistakably ambitious. He sought to redefine the American automobile with groundbreaking design and safety features that were well ahead of their time. Yet the Tucker 48 was not without its imperfections. Its innovative rear-engine layout and distinctive Cyclops eye headlamp set it apart visually and mechanically, but production challenges and financial constraints limited its reach. The intense business pressures, combined with regulatory scrutiny and the high-profile legal battle that followed, further complicated the company's path. Although Preston Tucker and his associates were acquitted of all charges, the damage to the company's momentum was irreversible. Only 51 Tucker 48 automobiles were ever completed, including the prototype known as the Tin Goose, each with subtle differences reflecting the evolving design and engineering efforts. This extreme rarity has transformed the Tucker 48 into a treasured artifact of American automotive history. Beyond its commercial life, the car's reputation grew through its striking design, pioneering safety concepts, and the dramatic story surrounding its creation and collapse. The Tucker 48 remains a symbol of post-war American innovation and entrepreneurial spirit, embodying both the promise and peril of daring to challenge the status quo. What do you think? Was the Tucker 48 primarily a brilliant car, a troubled business, or a symbol of American innovation? Let us know your thoughts, and if you've enjoyed this journey, consider subscribing for more stories that explore the complex legacies behind iconic automobiles. What do you think? Was the Tucker 48 primarily a brilliant car, a troubled business, or a symbol of American innovation? Let us know your thoughts.